Hi, I'm Desi Serna. In this free guitar lesson, I'm going to show you how I play in the style of Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix, specifically the guitar solo. This lesson is suitable for intermediate level players on up who are familiar with pentatonic scale patterns. You can follow along with free tab. Just go to the link in the video description. Before we begin, I want to point out that this is my own interpretation of the guitar solo. If you would like to learn how the original recording was played, or if you'd like to learn any other parts from this song, then I have also included a link to the official and complete guitar tab. Okay, so I'm playing an Eric Johnson Fender Stratocaster. I'm playing through a Paul Reed Smith Custom 50. I'm on the lead channel, and I have a little bit of post reverb on this. All right, I'm playing an E minor pentatonic pattern 1, which begins here at the 12th fret on the 6th string. And this whole guitar solo is played in pattern 1, except for one little lick at the very end. So you begin with a bend at the 15th fret on the 2nd string. It's a whole step bend, which means you want the 15th fret to sound like the 17th fret. I fret it with my 3rd finger. I also put my middle finger behind it because I like to use the strength of 2 fingers to bend, most of the time, not always. And then my index finger kind of lays across the back of the strings here just to mute them. After the bend, I play 3 notes down the scale, starting with the root E at the 12th fret on the 1st string. Then you have this lick. This is a full step bend at the 14th fret of the 3rd string. You bend, release, pull off, and then hammer on to the 14th fret of the 4th string. Then you pick the 12th fret of the 3rd string. So it's... from the beginning. Okay, next measure, another full step bend at the 15th fret on the 2nd string. Then you play down the scale 3 notes, beginning with the root. So that part is the same. And then the next phrase is, that's a bend at the 14th fret on the 3rd string, 12th fret of the 2nd string, back to the 14th fret of the 3rd string, 12th fret, then pull off. Let me back up a little bit. Then you play the 14th fret of the 4th string, and then you slide it off. I'm sorry, you don't slide off yet. You slide off after this. So. So that's 12 on the 3rd string, 14 on the 4th string, back to 12, and then just slide down and slide off. From the beginning. Okay, after you slide down, you're going to slide up with your ring finger to the 14th fret of the 5th string. And then you follow this with... so it's... and then after this, you play 2 bends on the 2nd string. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, now we're getting into measure 5 in the free tab that I have prepared for you. And it goes like this. Let me slow that down. When you get to this bend at the 14th fret on the 3rd string, you're going to pick the 14th fret and you want it to sound before you bend it. You want this 14th fret to sound like 2 notes. A, and then you're going to bend to the B. So, in other words, don't go straight into the bend like this. It's, make it sound like two notes. Ba, ba. And then from here you have then you go over to the 12th fret of the 4th string. Next you have, let me try that again. So this is a bend in the 3rd string, then you play the 2nd string, 12th fret, 1st string, 12th fret, that's a real common guitar lick. You do it just once. Bend the 15th fret of the 1st string, full bend. And then from here you have this is kind of an awkward part here. You play the 12th fret of the 1st string, bend the 14th fret of the 3rd string, 15th fret of the 2nd string, 12th fret of the 1st string, 15th fret of the 2nd string, back to the bend, 12th fret, 14th fret. So it's now I suppose you could do this, you could do the bend with your 3rd finger, which is how I normally would bend this note. Then use your pinky here. I'm more comfortable using 3 fingers. You could do it either way though. Let me back up a little bit. And you slide away from the 14th fret of the 4th string. Then you're going to slide in with your ring finger to the 16th fret of the 5th string. So this is not in the E minor pentatonic scale. You slide into the 16th fret, then you hammer on 14 to 16 on the 4th string. Then you go back to the E minor pentatonic position, 12th fret of the 3rd string, and end on your root E, 14th fret of the 4th string. You could think of this as being maybe part of the E major pentatonic. You could think of it as being part of the E Dorian scale. That's a major 6th there. That'd be found in the E major pentatonic or the E Dorian scale. So you could think of it as coming from either one of those. Let me back up. So you got so that completes the solo as I play it. But I'll point out that you could add a little bit more to it. Sometimes I hear players playing some double stops in there. Or so where I would just play single notes, some players would go, would bar there and play some extra notes. You can do it here too. Whoops. There's also some vibrato and stuff you can work in there. I'm trying to keep this simple just to make it easy for you to learn. I also would like to point out why this scale works over the progression. So Hey Joe is based on C, G, D, A, and E. And the whole goal of the progression is the E major chord. So you would say that this song is in E major because that's the primary chord. But we have some other chords here that don't typically go together in the key of E major, or the E major scale, if that's what you're thinking. So sometimes chords are based on a major scale patterns, like I teach in my book and my DVD on chord progressions. But sometimes chords are based on interval movement, in this case fifths. C to G is a fifth, G to D is a fifth, fifth, fifth. So this is actually out of the circle of fifths. And I talk about this in my book, Fretboard Theory, Volume 2. So this is an example of a chord progression that you wouldn't think of as stemming from a major scale pattern. Now, next question. Why does the E minor pentatonic work over the whole thing? Well, the chords C, G, D, and A are all found in some type of E minor scale. So the E natural minor scale has a G in it, it's got a C in it, it's got a D in it. So those chords are covered there, they're related. Because the E minor pentatonic is really just like a simplified full E minor scale. The A chord would fit into the E Dorian mode. I mentioned earlier that you could think of this lick as being from Dorian mode. This is where you slid into the 16th fret. That's a C sharp. That's a third of an A major chord. So the A major chord comes from E Dorian. E Dorian also has an E minor pentatonic in it. So that's why that scale can work over C, G, D, and A. Then when you get to E, it's very common in blues and rock music to play a minor pentatonic over a major chord. So even though the tonic or primary chord in this progression is E major, or playing the E minor pentatonic over it works because it gives you kind of a blues sound. Now normally a minor third, G, will clash when you play it over a chord with a major third, G sharp. But in this case, that makes the blues sound that we all know and love. So with that, you can see how all of these chords in the progression somehow fit with an E minor pentatonic. And that's why you can play the E minor pentatonic over the whole thing. This is an example of a chord progression that theoretically is actually kind of complicated. You got the circle of fifths, you've got some, you could think of it as chord borrowing. That's something I also teach in Fretboard Theory Volume 2. You know, we were taking into consideration the natural minor scale, the Dorian scale. So it can be kind of complicated theoretically, but it all works. But the neat thing about this song is it's simple. A handful of major chords and a fifth pattern, and basically you're just using a minor pentatonic. And that's how I like to play the guitar solo to Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. I want to remind you that you can follow along with free tab. Just go to the link in the video description. And if you'd like to learn more about guitar theory, including guitar scales, chords, progressions, modes, and more, then go to my website and sign up for a free preview of my guitar theory book and DVDs. The website is guitar-music-theory.com. That's guitar music theory with dashes in between the words. When you get there, look for the red book that says Fretboard Theory. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to rate this video and leave me some positive feedback.